For them, it's like in our words now, like a reformer, muslih, okay? So he received something new and he was in need to fix the problems. Now, he was not just a reformer, he was a prophet. He came to reform and to fix by the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we had an idea about what happened before his coming, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared things for him to be easy, how Allah protected his reputation, his status to a degree when he received the revelation. We have an idea about the Khadija radiallahu anha at the very beginning, the reaction of such and such. We came now, we are still in the time of they now announced, they stayed for about 3 years out of 13 years in Mecca. They do it secretly because they were not accepting them, they were torturing them. So now the latest phase, as what I was working in, basically the ways of rejection, the ways of fighting, the ways of challenge. We highlighted number one, we did about a few weeks ago, which was the physical torture. We had an idea that the new believers, your ancestors, our great grandfathers in faith, the Sahaba, Prophet Muhammad, we had an idea about how physically they were tortured. Then we moved to another way of challenge, which was the challenge of maneuvering and the temptations, which means, okay, do you mind if we will make you a king, we will give you the money, we will give you whatever, we will be the person in charge, what do you think? Number two. Now number three, which was half of what we have done last time, they started challenging by asking physical miracles. Okay, if you are a prophet, yalla, do such and such. If you are a prophet, do such and such. Now last time we highlighted some kind of, let's say 50% of the time, the things that we read in the Seerah from the authentic things, and which is mentioned in the Quran as well, the fact that they asked the challenge, split the moon for us if you are a prophet. And according to Al-Bukhari, this was done twice. Okay? Some people, okay, prophet scientifically. Did NASA say that? I don't care if NASA. I don't care with whole NASA. If Allah said it, it happened. How come? I don't care with the how. Do you know yourself how you are created? There are millions of things we don't know the how. Ibrahim alayhi salam, قال ربي أرني كيف. Oh Allah, show me great. You know, one of the greatest prophet, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was really wondering to know that how. قال فخذ أربعة من الطير. You know, try to gather this kind of birds and slaughter them, mix their flesh, spread them on the tops of the mountains. قال ثم ادعونا يأتينك سعيا. Okay, this happened. Did he know how? So the how, it's not our job basically. It's part of the greatness of Allah. Anyway, this was part of what we highlighted. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. Now, other thing that we finished last time, they asked him, and this is what we finished last time. He said, if you are a true prophet and messenger, try to remove all the mountains from around us in Mecca. You know, Mecca is in a place which is complete, not just desert. No, it's even much more worse than the normal deserts. It's just very dark rocks. Nothing else. No soil, no dirt, no paved, spaces, just mountains, dark rocks. No plantation, no trees, nothing at all. بواد غير ذي زرع, which is when Ibrahim alayhi salam said this is a place where there is no living thing. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not will to let the will of Zamzam, we highlighted the story of Hagar alayhi salam. Anyway, so they said, okay, I'll remove all the mountains, help us to make our own planet so that we can enjoy, to know that if you are a prophet, let your Lord just like this, remove all of these things. We highlighted the hadith last time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied to him, tell them, if I did it and they did not accept, definite punishment for all of them. Because this is the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is not against bringing you a miracle. But what if? Is it possible, by the way, that Allah might send a miracle and the people might not believe? It happened hundreds of times, thousands of times. وَمَا مَنَعَنَا أَن نُرْسِلَ بِالْآيَاتِ. Because when they replied, he said, Prophet Muhammad said, Ya Allah, no. Because he knows that some of them will not. So anyway, this, what we did last time up to the best of my memory and my knowledge. Now, in light of basically some of the scholars, when they were highlighting the mushrikeen request of what we call طلب خوارق العادات. This is the terminology that is used. خوارق العادات, literally it could be translated as the breakers of the norms. We have a norm, which is the law. Now, the norm that we have rain through clouds. We can't have rain without clouds. Now, if we just saw the water comes without clouds, this is what? خارق للعادة. Because, by the way, the abnormal or a breaker for the norm or the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, for us, now, today, I will highlight the following. We as Muslims, we understand the things that break the law, they are divided into two main categories for us. Okay? Literally, linguistically, they might be called miracles. As a terminology, no, we don't call them miracles. Some of them, we call them miracles, mu'jiza, and it has a specific definition. This is good for you, you need to know it. And the other part, we call it karama, and it has another definition, okay? Now, mu'jiza, the definition of mu'jiza is what happens which breaks the law of the universe by the will of Allah as a response from a prophet to prove that he is a prophet. If it is used by a prophet or a messenger against the people to prove that I am a messenger or a prophet, it's called what? Mu'jiza. Which means this is the miraculous aspect that is an evidence that I am a prophet or a messenger. Okay? Right. We have another things where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides, and by the way, when we say something breaks the law because it's the norm, because Allah is the one who made the laws, for example. Now for us, the norm is no one can exist without coming from a male and a female through the marriage. Isa alayhi salam came from a female without male. For us, it's a miracle, okay? Linguistically, okay? No one was using this unless if later on. But this is called khariq lil aada. Linguistically, it's a miracle, yes. But for us, Allah is the one who decided that none of us comes except through the meeting between male and female. He is the one who broke his law by his will, for his wisdom, out of his wisdom, to do this without. Now when you understand this, the whole idea of the existence of Isa alayhi salam will be something very simple. That's why some other groups, they misunderstood the law of Allah. They consider it a big deal to a degree. They considered him God himself. That's why Allah replied to this group of people by saying, to understand the law now, the Islamic concept. إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. The resembling, the example of Isa alayhi salam is simply like Adam. Actually, in my words, Adam is much more miraculous, much more amazing. Because Allah created Adam out of dirt, without male and female, nothing, out of just the dirt. خلقه من تراب. Then he said, be, and it is. So if you were to worship Jesus Christ because he came without a male, who deserves to be worshipped more? with this logic, Adam should be worshipped because Isa came from half a human, if I may put it in this formula. Adam, no father, no mother. Anyway, I'm just explaining the concept of mu'jiza. In the other side, we have some certain things are done by the will of Allah. This is very important. Please focus now. I don't want anyone to misunderstand. Allah breaks the law and we call it karama. Karama is a terminology. Literally, something that one has been honored with. تم تكريمه بها. Something. Now, Allah does break the law. But what is the definition of karama? قال خارق للعادة يجريه الله في كونه إظهارا لمكانة أوليائه. I repeat. The first one, Allah does break the law to prove that this person is a messenger. Plus, part of the definition, the messenger is challenging with the mu'jiza. He's claiming, highlighting, challenging. Karama, it breaks the law, so they have the same common ground. Both of them, the will of Allah breaks the law. But the karama is done solely, completely by the will of Allah, without a request, and the person does not know that it will happen. He does not ask for it. He should not feel happy or proud or showing off or thinking that I am something. Any of these signs, he is completely out of the consideration. It will not be karama. It will be something else like magic or jinn or something else. So one of the basic signs for the karama, it breaks the law, yes. We heard about Sahaba sometimes. In their fights, they walk, riding horses in the water. It happened. Yes, it's karama. It happened. But how come? يا عمي بنقول لك كرامة. The one who made, now in theory, if we have some kind of quick scientific way, for example now, can we walk using our cars on a lake? Yes, if it's frozen. I got you. If it's frozen, we can. Okay, but let's imagine that we have a small lake and we manage to freeze it. Literally, technically, am I riding my car on a lake? Made the nature of the water, in case if it is solid and we call it freezing, is able to hold the weight and to ride or to walk. Is it difficult for him to let you and me walk while still he's in the liquid, for example? It's his decision. Simply. I'm not taking from scientific point of view. I'm taking from logical point of view. Okay? So it happened. Now, but why I'm saying that? Because now, pause, please. Don't generalize. Some, I repeat. What? S-O-M-E. What does it mean? Some Sufi orders, they have a lot of, misguidance attitudes. They claim their sheikh, they have a karama, something. Some of them they deal with jinn, some of them they deal with magic. This is another story. So they might do something seems to you and me. For example, he's flying in the air without any means. Just, what happens? It could be with the jinn, yes. That's why Imam Shafi'i قال فإن رأيت رجلا يطير أو فوق ماء البحر قد يسير ولم يتبع حدود الشرع فإنه مجرم ويدعي فإنه something ويدعي. Which means, hey, even if you saw someone flying without any means of help and he's walking in the water and he has nothing to do with practicing Islam, be aware that this could be a witch or a liar or a fraud. Okay? Which means, but for us, now the karama is done by the will of Allah. No seeking, no showing off, no feeling happy with it. And to a degree, some of the ulama said, when the karama happens by the will of Allah, to honor one of the Abid, he feels so shy and he would love not to let anyone knows about it. If these signs are there, It's Allah who's honoring him. It's not him who's seeking showing off. Good my point? Clear? That's why when some murideen, some followers of some Sufi older, our Sheikh has a karama. You know, our Sheikh yesterday, he prayed the Fajr with Prophet Muhammad at Al-Medina physically. So because our Sheikh is one of the greatest, Sufi shuyukh, God made Prophet Muhammad leave his grave and he prayed with him and he shook his hand physically. Hasbi Allah al-Habal. You know Habal? You know what's Habal in Arabic? Craziness. Idiots. Dumbness. But subhanallah. So why I'm saying that? Because when we speak about mu'jiza, khariq al-'ada, this package is mixed. Because some people simply, this is ilm majlis. We need to know. Ya Ammi, is it acceptable in Islam that we have karama or not? Yes. Does that happen by the will of Allah? Yes. But why is that happening with my sheikh? Wait. We are following the shara', according to the shara'. This happens without him when he decides, Habibi. Mish your sheikh when he decides to go and pray, he just press a button, then he'll go and pray the Fajr with Prophet Muhammad at Al-Medina, and he takes the Asha with Abu Bakr in the Jannah, then he comes, Ya Ammi, this is habal, this is craziness. He's a muhtar, he's a dajjal. Dajjal شنو بالإنجليزي؟ دجال. لا لا كذاب. دجال شيء more specific. Messiah. Messiah? No, sorry. The literal meaning of the Dajjal, not the terminological meaning. This is Al-Masih al-Dajjal, this is the Antichrist. I'm talking about the Arabic terminology with Dajjal. You know, Dajjal is, like the liar who's hiding a lot of things and making a lot of fraud things, and he's cheating, lying, acting as if we call him
Imposter.
Imposter. Imposter. Okay.
Most of the karama, we knew about it after the person who had it passed away.
Subhanallah.
Because the shuyukh or the awliya used to hide it so much.
So
that it was known about it after they passed.
شوفوا جبنا سيف الدجالين والمعز. Okay. حرب. طيب, anyway, I mean, I was in need to let you know, please, because now I will re-highlight the concept that Al-Quran is mu'jiza. Now, yes.
The done in English is translated to what?
You. Wake up.
It's not the swipe of the duck, it just means somebody who's making a lot of noise and it has
Ah,
nothing to do.
زي مزعج يعني. Okay, جزاكم الله خير. Thank you. Look, what I was doing now is التخلية قبل التحلية. I'm trying to remove any possible misconception from my point. To know what is mu'jiza, what is karama, to understand it well, then we be more focused now. Now for us, in our Islam, in our faith, in our aqidah, historically, all prophets and messengers, they were given physical miracles. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to give Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the biggest miracle, which is the Quran. What I need you to know is the following now. طيب الله يجزيك الخير. But if you can ask him to now the mu'jiza. From one angle, the biggest aspect of the miracle of the Quran basically is the linguistic one, which means al-lugha, the melting pots, the main shape that contained everything else. Now we believe that Quran is the constitution of humanity. True or false? It's the constitution. This constitution is not just a book that contains information. No. It is written in a miraculous way. Now, to understand this, you need to know Arabic. So the shubha or the doubt comes now. Okay, wait. If this aspect of miraculous, for example, mu'jiz of the Quran, happens just through the channel of language. How come you are ready to make an impact on non-Arabs? If it is for humanity. Are you with what I'm trying to do now? If this is the case, yes, we believe the biggest aspect that runs through every single word is the language. The miraculous language. You will not be able to taste it, to enjoy it, but it contains other aspects of miracles. Okay? This is the biggest. Part of what it contains, last time we highlighted, that it contains the legislation itself. How to solve our economic problems, political problems, financial problems, family problems, and even if inheritance, how each one should be receiving after the death of someone, it's there from one aspect. Solve for humanity, right? Economy, finance. He put you a big restriction, no interest. What is the biggest problem of economy on earth now? Interest. When people face crisis, what is the most important thing economically they do? Zero interest. Am I exaggerating? At the time of Corona, what was the only and biggest solution that all of them practically admitted? Either being close to zero or zero interest. What does this mean? This means that everyone has to do with economy understands that the zero interest is the haven and the savior for the people's economy. But why you do not apply it? Here comes what other gods want. Are you with me? Here comes what other gods want. People of economy, big companies, the big players behind the scene, how to be vampires and control the people through interest. What's the interest? I'll give you. What's the miracle? No one can play with it. Even a Sahabi now, if Allah helped a Sahabi to come out of his grave, and we know that he's a Sahabi, he can't change the riba or the zina or the khamr. He can't. He has no power. Even if he is a Sahabi, he has no right. It's by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is part of the miracle. No one can play the game with this. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just to give you an idea, created the money, which is the biggest aspect for it, gold and silver for us now. Money is created in this system to be replaced with items, goods, or services, or for the sake of Allah donation. Okay? Now, the way how to deal between you and me, basically, either I buy and sell or we share. Take, give you money. Take, give you money. So replacements. Okay? This is the money, how Allah designed the world. Now, or I share with you. You have the power of your muscles, I have the money. We open a gym, we made agreement, 50-50, 70-30, 60-40. We work. If we lose, you lose your efforts, I lose my money. This is Islam. Now, interest system means what? People who has the money will ask other peoples who have the money to collect the money here. Then, if you need to do whatever you want to do, you take money from me and you replace money with money, extra money, money with money, money with money. Regardless what happens with you, you lost, you are up, you are down, we don't care. By this, the people who has the money and the people who run the money, they control lives of everyone else. Because they will be enslaved 24/7. That's why riba is haram. Is it easy to understand what I'm saying? This is why it's, it's the nerve of economy on earth. That's why, for example, it's haram. It's haram to a degree. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he said, those who are dealing with riba, قال فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Be aware that I, as your Lord, is declaring war against you. I'm just giving you an idea when we speak about the Quran as a miracle. This is an aspect. And we have other aspects. Now, part of the amazing aspect of the Quran that we have millions of non-Arabs who are influenced with what we call the sound, the tune, if I may put it, the musical tune of what they don't understand as a language. How many people, just by listening to the Quran, they became interested to know what Islam is? Thousands of people. But what is it? It's secret. The beauty of reciting the Quran. How many times we cry, even if we don't understand? How many times you understand just 10% of the meaning, yet you cry? Okay? Now, today I will bring your attention to the following. Now we are living in the 21st century. This constitution, the Quran, contains a lot of great things. The biggest is the language, yes? If you don't have the language, and by the way, just pause. Most of the Arabs, they don't have the language now. Many Arabs, they are non-Arabs. Don't think that the fact that you speak Masri or Palestinian or Urduni or Iraqi, you are speaking Arabic. No, this is not the Arabic that we are talking about. Huh? To enjoy the beauty of Quranic Arabic, you need to speak the Fusha Arabic, to live it, to study it. So that you understand, say, Allah, Wallahi, Wallahi, Wallahi. When you understand Arabic, you will feel as if it's a magic. Right? Do you think that Allah has chosen this language for His final book for humanity just randomly? Do you think? Hasha subhanahu. No, there is something. Anyway, my point, Tayyib, what if I'm non-Arab? What if how to speak with non-Arabs? Here come to our very focused point today. I did say it many times. Today I will highlight it more. I will give you more examples. Now we have legislative miracles, teachings, information, sound, recitation. Part of what we have from what we consider miracles basically is what we call now in our terminology scientific miracles. Al-Ijaz, Al-Ilm. And I believe if you are a non-specialist in Islamic studies, and if you don't master the skills of Arabic for whatever reason, okay? And you want to speak about the power of the Quran as the book of Allah, please educate yourself about scientific miracles in the Quran. Today, I will repeat very quickly 3 that I have done it 10 times. Then I will add another 3 to 4 to your information. Just to fix in your mind at least 7 to 10. Here. Whenever happens, what do you think about this? Because common sense. What we know now call technology or science, 95, if 99% of them, they were not known as it is known now, just 100 years ago and go back. Most of the high technical knowledge that we know now, am I exaggerating? Most of what we know, no one knew about it. About many things in physics, chemistry, biology, geology, many things. So when the Quran 1400 years ago mentioned this, not just generally, in specific, you have one of 2 options. Either to find a satisfying answer for yourself, to stand before your Lord in the day of judgment when you reject this and without having a reason, or to accept it and submit. You don't have another option. Or find an answer. This is part of what we know to understand the challenge, okay? Quran is a challenge, but don't now, you are not asked to go to challenge the people with the Arabic rhetorical style, al-balagha al-Arabi. No one will care with that now. You need it as an expert if you want to be an expert. You need it. But outside, you need something else. Now, the 3 examples that I mentioned at least 10 times. Richard Varley and his story when he became a Muslim about 30 or 40 years ago. That officer in the UK Department of Anti-Terrorism, when he was reading the Quran in 1989 to 1993, Richard Varley. When he was his major is biology and physics, and he was reading about the Muslims because he wanted to deal with Muslims. So he said, my basic or my major, he has double major, geology and physics. 1989, he was reading the Quran. He came across قول الله تعالى والسماء أولم يرى الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا ففتقناهما وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. Have the non-believers witnessed that that heavens and earth, they were one mass and we split them into pieces. So he said, I was reading this. He said,
That's my mic.
اوه جاي بتحكي؟ بس صوتي عالي مع السماعة ان شاء الله بكون واصل. انا I'm so sorry. Me no English. Sorry, no English. Me no. حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. When you face a problem, me no English. What I was saying. أولم يرى جزاك الله خير. Have the non-believers witnessed that the heavens and earth, they were one mass and we split them into pieces? Then he said, wait. He said, this is what we call now the Big Bang Theory. نظرية الانفجار العظيم. He said, how come the Quran is referring to this? Then he came across قول الله تعالى والسماء بنيناها بأيد وإنا لموسعون. Verily indeed we have built heaven, the heaven with might and we are still expanding it. Look to the Quranic expression. Expanding. Present continuous. He said, look. He said, Hubble telescope with his friends just 100 years ago, they discovered that the sky or the heaven is what? Expanding. Just 100 years ago. And how did they discover? Through the lights of the stars. Sometimes, it's moving. It's moving. Actually, not just moving. It's what? Expanding with the light speed. Moving with light speed, expanding with light speed. Ya Allah. They discovered this about 120 more years ago. He said, how on earth did the Quran know? Because he was not thinking about Muhammad now. No, he was thinking about the book. This information 1400 years ago. Then he came across قول الله تعالى وجعلنا الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the mountains like, widges and pigs inside the earth. Two, والجبال أوتادا وجعلنا فيها رواسي شامخات, which means, he said, my major is geology. He was saying this in 1989, 91, 92. He said, we have just discovered in the early 60s that this is the case between mountains, that most of the mountains, they go inside the surface of the earth. How did the Quran know that? This is called scientific what? Miracles. I'm just giving you an idea, okay? That when we say, so that for yourself, to fix yourself, when you speak about the miracle, forget the rhetorical miracle, المعجزة البلاغية. Understand it as a Muslim, as an Arab, to enjoy understanding yourself in case if you want to be an expert, no problem. However, if you don't have a time, if you are not specialist, I'm giving you a piece of cake how to prove that this book is impossible to be from anyone except Allah. Or if you are speaking with an atheist, it's impossible to be from a human being. It must be from a divine source. تفضل, try. If you can't find a divine source except what we call Allah, bring it to me and I will consider. Well, I'm not joking. قل إن كان للرحمن ولد فأنا أول العابدين. If you can prove to me, by the way, this is a Quranic methodology, challenging the opponent. Christians, others, because the people of Mecca, some of them, they were believing that the angels are the daughters of Allah. Do you know this? It's not just Christianity, they believe that Jesus Christ is the son of God. The Arabs, they used to believe that what? Angels are the daughters of Allah. Yes, they have this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was challenging all of them through the Quran. قُلْ إِن كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدْ فَأَنَا وَلَعَبْ. If you can prove to me that Almighty God with His power, He is in need to be inside the womb of a woman, to be born just to fulfill something, okay, with all of His power, and the universe will be without anyone in charge. If you can let this be grasped in my system, I will be the first worshipper for this God. Prove it to me. Accept it from me. Faddal. I mean, that's why now you need to know these examples. Now we will add the following very quick examples, inshallah. مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان and وهو الذي مرج البحرين هذا عذب فرات وهذا ملح أجاج وجعل بينهما برزخا وحجرا محجورا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He merges the two bodies of fresh and salt water, and yet between them is a barrier they never cross. بينهما برزخ. Allah is mixing the fresh and the salty water, yet there is a barrier they don't mix. قال وهو الذي مرج البحرين هذا عذب فرات وهذا ملح الأجاج وجعل بينهما برزخا وحجرا محجورا, and He is the one who merges the two bodies of water, one fresh and palatable and the other salty and bitter, placing between them a barrier they cannot cross. And this phenomenon is very well known now in the seas and the rivers. Everyone knows it now. It's part of geology and science and physics, and everyone knows it. It's part of that everyone knows. Allah was challenging with this. How did Muhammad know? Now, one of the very interesting claims, the claims of Christians and Jews, and Christians in specific, they keep saying that Muhammad stole what? He made a theft. You know what the theft that he made, as they claim? He composed the Quran by taking it from the Bible. طيب يا عمي, okay. Yalla, let's come to the evidence. Where are these informations in the Bible? Yeah, seriously, I'm speaking logically now. Come, bring to me your original script that prove that this is the original of the Bible, and bring me this information. We in the Quran have around 6,300 verses in the Quran. 1,000 of them like the verses that I'm telling now. 1,000. 1 out of 6. So we are talking around 15%. 15% of the Constitution, I have given you just 4 verses now. Still we have 900, about 96 verses in the same that I'm giving you. Another example. أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. Do people think we cannot resemble their bones? Yet indeed we are most capable of restoring even their very fingerprints. Who knew that fingerprints are unique? Now, part of your identity that no one can resemble you is your fingerprint. Allah is challenging. It's not just I will reshape you again. It's not just I will bring you into life again. No. I will reshape your fingerprint. The fingerprint, who knew anything about that? No one. Just tens of years ago. Now its basic part, actually it's a common sense in the criminology now. You take criminology, I think, علم الجريمة. Part of the criminology science basically is the fingerprints. طب how did Muhammad know? Another example. طيب, 4th, 5th example. فمن يرد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء كذلك يجعل الله الرجس على الذين لا يؤمنون. Whoever Allah wills to guide, He opens their heart to Islam. But whoever He wills to leave astray, He makes their chest tight and constricted as if they were climbing up into the sky. This is how Allah dooms those who disbelieve. Allah is resembling those who disbelieve like someone who is finding very difficulty in his breathing because he was climbing into the sky. He was ascending into layers of heaven. Now we know that by doing this, you are losing oxygen each layer contains less oxygen. And we know that's why we use when you travel with the airplane or when you have big balloons. اسمها المنطاد شو اسمه? Big balloons? Balloons. You know, this big balloons, sometimes when it goes few hundreds or thousands of feet, you need what? Oxygen. You will not die immediately. You will not lose completely oxygen. But oxygen will be what? Less. Wow. Look how accurate the Quran is.
Even when you climb mountains.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. Everest, for example. You know, the top of Everest, I think 4,000 meters, which is about 12 or 13,000 foot. Now, the idea, to the best of my knowledge, شوف الطيارين على السريع بخشوا على الخط بيمسكني هسه يا عمي ما عديها بقى يا شيخ. How many thousands? 26,000 feet. وشوف you need to use with me منهج عديها بقى يا شيخ. Okay? 20,000 feet. 26. How many thousand meters? Everest. Wow, 20,000.
Almost 8 kilometers.
8,500.
يعني
Almost 8 kilometers.
يا الله, which is equal to most of the commercial flights, صح? يعني we can see someone on the tip of Everest while we are traveling. Say hi. Yes. Subhanallah. I mean, the idea. The Quran said, look, here comes your understanding for the language. Because the language is holding these miracles. The expression. The Quran said, كأنما يصعد في السماء. The sound and the format, it gives you the graduality of step after step into the upper layers. كأنما يصعد. حرج. He did not say you will die out of losing the oxygen. He did not say you will, no, he said it will be like someone who's climbing, it will be difficult and difficult and difficult, which is exactly what we face now. How did Muhammad know these facts? Now, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ. Inshallah I will finish with this one. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ ثم جعلناه نطفة في قرار مكين ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين. And indeed we created humankind, Adam, from an extract of clay, then placed each human as a sperm drop in the secure place, the womb. Then we developed the drop into clinging clot of blood. Then developed the clot into a lump of flesh. Then developed the lump into bones. Then clothed the bones with flesh. Then we brought it into being as a new creation. So blessed is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best of creators. Now, the steps of the creation up to just a few hundreds of years, all of humanity, including Europe, at their dark ages, they used to think that in the womb of our mothers, we are created as a complete human being, but very, very small. Okay? Then this very small, complete creature will be just, will be expanding in the size, and that's it.
And also they used to teach in the medical universities
شوف هاي.
that muscles, flesh are created first and then bones grow in it.
Subhanallah.
They thought it's a fact.
Dr. Yasser, he's a doctor. He's a dentist. So he did part of his job in the medical faculty. That's why he's saying, just for the people in the internet, they used to teach, do you know when? Up to when?
Dark ages.
Dark ages, they used to think that muscles are created, then bones will become inside it. Now the Quran says,
Bones first.
bones, then the flesh. Now it points. By the way, unless you can prove that Muhammad ﷺ was a scientist, and you bring his degree from Cambridge or Harvard or MIT or whatever, you can't prove it, I'm ready to leave Islam. If you can't prove it, submit. Respect your place. Respect yourself. Wallahi. By that I can't. I'm repeating the challenge of Allah. قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدٍ فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ عَابِدٍ. If you can disprove it, do it. If you can't prove otherwise, do it. If you can't, you have no option but to submit. Or this is part of the meaning of rejecter. You know rejecter? شو يعني rejecter? كافر. What is the kufr? To reject something after knowing and realizing. That's why some people, معقول يا شيخ, Allah will punish some people in the day of judgment in the hellfire. Where is the mercy of Allah, حبيبي? ومعقول في واحد so rude and وقح, after knowing all of these evidences about the greatness of his Lord, yet he was so arrogant to refuse him? Why you are not able to understand this? Why you are able to accept this? Why? I'm not addressing you. I'm addressing those people who think in this way. Because they think in the human rights. But what about God's rights? سؤال. My right, my right. يا عمي, طب Allah does not have right? Ha, Sheikh, what do you mean? You are talking about your right. What about Allah's rights? Ha? You have your rights. What about your God's rights? Ha? That's why the two angels, when they come to the grave and they ask him, Man rabbukum adinuk, he will say what? Ha? Ha? Okay. No answer. No English, طبعا. No English. Huh? I mean, yeah, by the way, in the grave with the angels of death, there is no concept of me no English. La, they will speak in something you understand. Don't worry. Don't worry. They will speak in wallahi. Wallahi, it's very horrible. It's not a joke. Because if you don't have other way, you have to consider. You must consider otherwise. That's why the beauty of Islam is clarity. The beauty of the challenge of Islam, it's not just submit and believe and close your mind, don't think. No. We are challenging you to think. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that the first ayah in Islam was revealed what? Iqra, read. We are the people of knowledge. We are the people of ilm. If you are not convinced, no problem. But are you really not convinced? This is the question. Are you really not convinced? طب you have something else? تفضل, bring it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not punish you. But if that's why we believe in the innate nature, the inner nature, inside, fitra, which you realize. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is challenging us. وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ ظُلْمًا وَعُلُوًّا. Allah is telling us about a very deep psychological secret. We all know as individuals between ourselves, but we don't declare it, and most of us, we don't admit it, which is وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ. They rejected, they refused superficially. Inside themselves, they know it for certain that it is the truth. طب why ya Allah? ظلما وعلوا. Arrogance, transgressing, showing off, I don't want. That's why the one which this concept is applicable on him or her, he will be punished. Period. Sallallahu alayhi Sayyidina Muhammad wa alayhi sallam. Next time, we'll start talking about the final style of challenge. This is what? Challenge through miracles. We understand what miracle is, what karama is, what part of the miracles can be used now in our discussion. We finish this. Next time we will talk about what's called قال الشبه الفكرية, the intellectual doubts now. And there was a cooperation between Jews and the people of Mecca in that. Because intellectual means, okay, come. If that's true, how come such and such? You need knowledge now. You need common sense. You need to use this kind of contradictions with the information. Okay? Like, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ. Like now we say for some of non-believers, like atheists, they keep asking, if God does exist, why, and He is merciful as you claim, how come He's allowing cancer through children even though they have done nothing? This is called intellectual what? Doubt. Shubha fikriya. Next time you will highlight some of the intellectual doubts that people of Mecca used to raise against Muhammad ﷺ and the believers. After finishing that, we will move to a completely new phase. Do you know what is it? Al-Hijra al-Habasha. Migration to Abyssinia, to what we know now as Ethiopia. Sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No English.
أحسن حاجة